1:30. I'd like to call the meeting of the March 17th, 2014 Traffic and Transportation Commission to order. Roll call, Commissioner Witcher.
Here, sir.
Commissioner Littlefield. Here, sir. Ward 3 is vacant. Commissioner Hale, not present. Commissioner Schuline. Commissioner Jenkins. Commissioner George. Commissioner Yonkel, not present. Can I have a motion concerning the minutes of the February 17, 2014 meeting, please?
I move that the minutes be approved.
We have a motion from Commissioner Jenkins to approve.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Schuline. Any discussion on this item? Okay, we have a motion to approve from Commissioner Jenkins and a second from Commissioner Schuline, the minutes of the February 17th meeting. Can I have your votes? Item is approved. Okay, going on to reports of licensed taxi and record service. We'll have that in April. No item of the consent docket. So we go on now to item 5A, OKC F-S Limo Service, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, 73114, to consider an application for the Certificate of Public Convenience and Necessity from Jose Guzman, doing business as OKC F-S Limo Service to operate 5 vehicles in limo service. Do you have anybody here to speak on this item? No. Okay. Can I have staff input, please?
Okay, you've got a completed application for a Certificate of Public Convenience and Necessity to operate a new limousine company. So staff would recommend approval of the application as presented.
Thank you. Do we have a motion concerning item 5A? Move for approval. We have a motion to approve from Commissioner Littlefield. Second?
Second.
We have a second from Commissioner George. Any discussion on this item? Okay. We have a motion to approve from Commissioner Littlefield, seconded by Commissioner George. Item 5A. Can I have your votes, please? Okay. Item is approved. Item 5B, Darrell Gooden, Yukon, Oklahoma, 73099, to consider a request for one, the establishment of a reserved parking zone on the west side of North Morgan Road, starting at the existing metal gate across the dead end of North Morgan Road, approximately 1,850 feet north of Northwest 63rd Street, to a point 50 feet to the south of the gate, and a reserved parking permit application from Darrell Gooden to use the reserved parking area requested on North Morgan Road for the purpose of banning migratory birds in the vicinity of the Sitchcomb Wildlife Refuge. Have anybody here to speak on this item? Sir?
Stand up.
Yes, please. If you can come on up, and if I could have your name and your address, and you have up to 5 minutes to speak on it.
My name is Perry Gross. I own 3 farms. My address is 4109 Lake Drive, Yukon, Oklahoma. One of the farms surrounds this land where the gate is. There's 2 gates going into Stinchcomb. They're red, white, and blue gates. This gate is a Turnpike Authority dead-end road gate. For him to access that gate and go to Stinchcomb, he'll be trespassing either on my land or Turnpike Authority land. The no parking area that there's now, they put up after they found a dead body down there about 8 months ago, and all the trash that's been dumped down there on the Turnpike land underneath the bridge. A lot of kids go down there and party at night and stuff. My neighbor to the west is Minick Materials. He's pulled topsoil out of there. He's put no trespassing signs up. I've got no trespassing signs up. If this gentleman wants to park on my land, I'd prefer that more than y'all give him a permit, because if someone sees him parked down there, they'll think he's parked down there, and we're just now getting control of it. I met with Under Sheriff Chris West this weekend, and his argument was, we don't know his car, we'll see his permit, but we got to go down there and check it every time. And like Major Becker, he's understaffed out of Hefner Division, but it's just my way of solving the problem to get along with him. If he wants to do birds, the only way he can access Stinchcomb from Morgan Road would be go straight east down my fence line. Stinchcom's not accessible from Morgan Road in any way, shape, or form. It's Turnpike Authority land. I got a printout of it. Took me a year to get all the title work done, but this is it right here if you want to look at it. Other than that, I'll let him park on my land if he's okay with that, rather than having park in the street, because if someone sees one person park there, they think it's okay for them to park there, then I tell them they can't park there, or I call the sheriff's department, they say, we see people park there all the time, we thought it was okay. We've just now got it under control because they put all the no parking signs up, so that's my spiel.
Okay, thank you very much. Anybody else to speak on this item? All right. Sir, would you like to speak? Okay. When you're done, fill out one of the cards, please. I need your name, your address, and you have up to 5 minutes.
Thank you. My name is Darrell Golden. I live at 1107 East Foreman Road in Yukon, Oklahoma. For 25 years, I've been working with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service on a voluntary basis. We have used the northwest portion of Stinchcomb Wildlife Refuge. We've gathered a tremendous amount of information on the birds that were there, the birds that are not there today, the habitat changes, and I'd like to continue doing that. 5 years ago, there were 4 entrances to Stinchcomb Wildlife Refuge. Today, there are only 2, and both of them are in the extreme southern part of the refuge, where I think it's Highway or Street 50th Street, where it dead ends. There's a parking area there now, so the southern part of the refuge is easy to get to, but the northern part is difficult to get through. And I see it as Bargain Road is a public road, Stinchcomb is a public park or wildlife refuge, and I don't have access to it unless I either have a parking permit or walk a great distance. There was a dead body found down there. One of these days, we'll all be dead bodies, and I hope that we're treated with a little more respect. I've probably seen or handled as many dead bodies as anybody in this room. I was stationed at Fort Myer, West Virginia, Arlington Cemetery, where we buried sometimes as many as 20 people in one day. So I don't think finding a dead body there is any reason to ban parking at the end of Stinchcomb. I'll still do research if I don't get a parking permit, but it's just so much easier not to have to walk a great distance and carry equipment if I could park at the end of Bargain Road. I'd like to say also that other people use that part of the wildlife refuge, fishermen, hikers, photographers, and I think it would be better just to put a sign up that says no parking after dark or daylight parking. That would accommodate others other than myself. It's a dead-end road, there's no traffic, and there's only one house nearby, and just to serve the public, I think that would be the thing to do. I hope that you'll give me a permit. If not, I'll have to go other places to ban. We do ban other places. But this is an area that's been a long-term study, and we have a lot of data, and it's very useful. Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you very much. Sir, did you have something else?
Yeah. The reason...
Just wait a second. Just come on up. Come on.
The picture you showed of the gate that dead ends to Morgan Road, all the land to the north is Turnpike Authority land. It has nothing to do with Stinchcomb Wildlife. For him to go in there, he would have to have permission, according to Under Sheriff Chris West, from the Turnpike Authority. I agree Stinchcomb Refuge is a public place, but there's no access in every area of the refuge because there's landowners around there. This particular place has never had access to Stinchcomb Refuge ever on the dead end of Morgan Road. It's impossible. The land is a half a mile to the east where Stinchcomb Refuge starts. He's more than welcome to park on my property. I have a pull in there. It's not barbed wire fenced. No one will bother him. I just don't want people parking at a dead-end road thinking they can get access to it. I know both game wardens. I know Major Becker's area. I know Chris West, the undersheriff. Every time we see people down there, we don't know if they're hunting. We don't know if they're fishing. All we know is they're trespassing. So as far as the access to areas for Stinchcomb, they probably put one on county line, which that's up to my land. I never have any problems. The one at 50th is by Bethany football stadium. Why they didn't put them anywhere else? Probably because they want to control it. But Stinchcomb Refuge is probably 2,500, 3,000 acres. He's more than welcome to come in on my property if it's a win-win, but my argument is it's never been accessible from Morgan, and it still isn't because he can't get to Stinchcomb from Morgan Road.
All right. Yes, sir, please.
I have a map of Stinchcomb Wildlife Refuge. At the end of Morgan Road, there was once gate number 4 and gate number 5. Farther on Morgan Road, coming in from the north, that was gate number 2. Now today, there are only 2 gates that give you access to the wildlife refuge. So unless this map is a phony, you can see there have been in the past 3 entrances, and 2 of them have been at the end of Morgan Road. Thank you.
Sir, if I could just ask one thing, would it be okay to park where he's offering you to park?
I'd rather not park on public land. That creates a liability.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Public access by way of a public road to a public wildlife refuge is the fair thing to do.
All right, very good, sir. All right, can we have staff input, please?
Okay, you've got our report before you. I'll just, for the benefit of those who don't have a copy of the agenda, I'll just go through the recommendations. The request for the establishment of a reserved parking zone on North Morgan Road for purposes of scientific research and the justifications provided in support of the request appear to be reasonable. Limiting parking at this location to the operator of a vehicle engaged in research, which takes place only at certain times of the year, while prohibiting all other parking, balances the desires of area residents for security while allowing research activities to continue to be conducted at the location. In recognition of the desire of local area residents to curtail parking on North Morgan Road and the understanding that the location where the reserved parking zone is being requested is unique for the purposes of continuing research activities, staff recommends approval of the request to establish the reserved parking zone and approval of the application for a reserved parking permit as presented. So action on this will be at the discretion of the Commission.
All right, thank you. Do we have a motion concerning item 5B?
So was the motion for both items A and B, or are those individual?
It's for 1 and 2,
Or 1 and 2? Okay,
yeah, the
so
motion, basically I read it that it's saying if we were to approve the reserved parking zone, then it would automatically approve
Very
the
good.
parking permit.
All right, I move approval.
Okay, we have a motion to approve from Commissioner Witcher. And we have a second from Commissioner Jenkins. Okay. The one question I have is the individual's concern about that the wildlife refuge doesn't start for a half a mile. That's what was stated was at that gate, it's private property for a half a mile until the refuge. Would there be any way to find that out? Sir, yeah, if you could come up and could you clarify that point, please?
I can make it very clear. I made
No,
it.
just right up here.
Stinchcomb Refuge gates has always been red, white, and blue. He even confirmed there's only 2 gates. This gate has never been red, white, and blue. At one time, Morgan Road went all the way through. When the Turnpike Authority condemned the land, which was partly Symes's farm, which I purchased from the Symeses, they condemned that land for the Turnpike to go through. At that time, it went from private property to Turnpike Authority land, which they now own. This is what I have right here, and it's very, very recent, because I just closed on the property a year ago.
So what you're saying is,
The land to the north of Morgan Road is
Right.
Turnpike Authority land.
Right.
For probably, I'm going to say, quarter of a mile, almost to the river,
right?
and then it starts to be Stinchcomb again.
So he would just have to make sure to not be trespassing.
You can't get to Stinchcomb without going through Turnpike
Well,
Authority.
then he'd have to get a hold of them to get approval.
Right.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. Do we have,
Do you want to see this? I mean, it doesn't matter to me. It is what it
Yeah,
is. It
go
will
ahead.
not change.
You know, our map shows that
Okay.
it comes all the way, down to that spot. Where's Morgan?
This is where the house is, this is where the dead end is, right here at this gate, that's that gate, that's the X, that's my property, this is Fishman, this is north of Morgan Road, this is Turnpike 41, to the west is me, except this where they're taking the offshore line. It says Turnpike 40 there, and to the south of me, just this is flat.
Okay.
This is all sandstone. From here, all this is sandstone that
okay, thank you very much. Sir, did you have a comment?
Saying that
May I make another comment?
Yes, please.
I talked to the Turnpike Authority. When they built the turnpike, they took a pretty good slice of land through the wildlife refuge. And this area that he's talking about is what they call offset. In other words, if they took some wildlife refuge, they had to find other land that was suitable. And the people I talked to, I'm sorry I don't have the name, but they said that is considered part of Stinchcomb Wildlife Refuge.
So they're saying it's an offset from the land that they took to keep the same acreage. They offset some of that land.
Right, it was already part of Stinchcomb, but when they made the turnpike, they had to take a certain section of land, and they had acquired that land as part of the turnpike, but it's considered part of the Stinchcomb Wildlife Refuge
Right,
as far as use goes.
Okay, all right? Okay, thank you very much. All right, questions?
Mr.
comments?
Golden, I'm sorry, before you sit down, when you're doing your work, are you parking at the end of Morgan Road and then traveling by foot to do your work? Okay, so you're not doing your work at the end of Morgan Road? Okay, thank you. And then staff, we know that with certainty that Morgan Road, the right-of-way, extends all the way up to this point?
Well, from Northwest 63rd Street to the dead end, yeah, because we've had that sign for no parking.
Okay. So any other comments, questions from up here? Okay, we have a motion to approve item 5B from Commissioner Witcher, seconded by Commissioner Jenkins. Can I have your votes, please? All right, item is approved. Okay, item 5C, Brian Fitzsimmons, AIA President, Fitzsimmons Architects, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma 73103, to consider a request for one, establishment of two-hour reserved parking spaces for the physically disabled within a proposed inset parallel on-street parking area on the north side of Northwest 10th Street from approximately 171 feet west to 225 feet west of the west curb line of North Hudson Avenue, and two, establishment of 8 two-hour metered parking spaces within a proposed inset parallel on-street parking area on the north side of Northwest 10th Street from approximately 105 feet west to 171 feet west, and from approximately 225 feet west to 335 feet west of the west curb line of North Hudson Avenue. Do we have anybody here to speak on this? Sir?
Brian Fitzsimmons.
Yes, sir. So if you could fill out one of the green forms when you're done, and you have up to 5 minutes, I need your name and your address, please.
Okay, Brian Fitzsimmons, 2721 North Walker, Fitzsimmons Architects. I'm not sure that there's a whole lot to explain, but we're asking for permission to modify the existing curb line for inset parallel parking in front of a development that's under construction that is a commercial development. And it was recommended, or at least in discussions with traffic, that it might be available to the public for with the paid metered parking, and we were happy to do that as well. So,
All right, thank you very much. We have staff input, please.
Okay, staff comments are before you in the report. In this particular item, they're looking at constructing an inset parallel parking lane on 10th Street. There's one very similar to it, just on the east side of Hudson, on the north side of the road. This particular route is also an area where, that may be where the streetcar eventually passes through, but either way, creating a new parallel parking area in an inset area operationally should be all right in this particular area, so action will be at the discretion of the commission.
All right, thank you very much. Do we have a motion concerning item 5C?
Mr. Chairman, I move we accept the request.
We have a motion to approve item 5C from Commissioner Schuline,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Jenkins. Any discussion on this item?
Brian, this is your design?
Yes.
Very, very nice looking building, really nice.
Thank you.
Hey, what is it going to be?
It's, in essence, two individual buildings connected by a courtyard. On the west side is, 10th Street level is a bowling alley called Dust Bowl, and then on the upper level, which is actually accessed off of Park Place because of the terrain, that'll be Fassler Hall, which is a beer garden, and then the east part of the building, the tenants are not known, but it'll be commercial.
Hey, just wondering, really nice looking.
Your parking, will it be on the north side of the building?
Yes,
Access
there's
ramp?
also parking on the north side, and under the same ownership on the 11th north of Park Place, same
so on
ownership
both sides
owns
of
that, so
Park
there'll be
Place.
available parking there as well.
Yeah.
Okay, any other talk on this item? Okay, we have a motion to approve item 5C from Commissioner Schuline, seconded by Commissioner Jenkins. Can I have your votes, please? Item is approved. Thank you, sir. Item 5D, Wade Harden, Community Development Director, City of Piedmont, Oklahoma, 73078, to consider a request for the addition of east and westbound stop signs on Northwest 164th Street at its intersection with North County Line Road in order to establish all-way stop control. Anybody here to speak on this item? Okay. Sir, if I can have you fill out a form when you're done, if I can have your name and your address, and you have up to 5 minutes.
Thank you, Commission. Wade Harden, 314 Edmond Road, Northwest. On behalf of the City of Piedmont, I've submitted a request before you this afternoon for two stop signs, as mentioned, at the intersection of County Line and 164th. In regards to the staff report provided to you, we're in full agreement with the information that was provided to you by your staff. I do want to make a couple of comments, though, in regards to the intersection in the area around there. First, west of the intersection, moving west, all of the intersections, at least within a 5-mile radius, 5 miles going west, are four-way stops. Going back the opposite direction to the east, with exception to Morgan Road, again, you'll find the majority of those, at least going 5 miles out, are four-way stops as well. Recently, this has become more discussion. We've received a number of comments in regards to this in the past, but this has been exacerbated in the recent construction commencing on Edmond Road, with traffic being diverted to the south to 164th, with that road being closed. So that's been another issue. We've been in contact with the county, Oklahoma County, in regards to this. We believe we have their support with the request, and just would appreciate your consideration in this request. If you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to address them.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Can we have staff input, please?
Okay, from a warrant perspective, the intersection does not meet any of the warrants for considering the use of always stop control. However, if you look at the surrounding area map, it's been past practice, or it's not uncommon in Oklahoma City, especially in the rural areas, to have always stop control at most of the section line road intersections. So a change like this won't violate any driver expectation. So action on this will be at the discretion of the commission.
All right, thank you. Do we have a motion concerning item 5D?
Have a motion to approve it?
We have a motion from Commissioner George to approve item 5D. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second from Commissioner Witcher. Any discussion? Okay, we have a motion to approve item 5D from Commissioner George, seconded by Commissioner Witcher. Can I have your votes, please? Okay, item is approved. We go on now here to comments from citizens. Item 6. Do we have anybody who wishes to speak? Okay. Now we'll go on to item 7, reports and other items from the traffic commissioners, et cetera. Let's start off with Commissioner Witcher.
Be reporting on the subcommittee work having to do with the web app-based rideshare service work. There have been 2 meetings that were conducted between Municipal Counselor's Office and Oklahoma City Police Department with representatives specifically of Uber, and then another meeting with representatives of the local taxi industry. The short story is that there's general agreement now that there will be regulation in Oklahoma City for this, that it will look a lot like our current regulation, although that there will be some changes that are specific to the ride-sharing, the web-based stuff. Municipal Counselor's Office is still working on fleshing out all those details, and I'm sure it's a little bit liquid, so I may not have the latest information, but we're working towards a resolution.
All right. Is there any other thing you want to report? Okay. Commissioner Littlefield.
Nothing specific from Ward 2, but the Traffic Calming Committee met last month, and we're moving forward with some great ideas. A traffic calming device was installed, the driver feedback device, excuse me. It tells you how fast you're going. Was installed on Northwest 56th Street right outside of my house. And to my knowledge, and I'll probably learn today, but there's been some analysis of what these record. But my observation was really fascinating because I literally could see the front end of cars going down and brakes hitting. It was really cool to see that. And then when it was turned off, I just saw cars that just kept on going that weren't hitting the brakes. So I don't know what that means, but in my opinion, it means something good. And I don't know if Commissioner Schuline has anything to add, if they were placed in your neighborhoods or not. Okay, and we'll talk about that then at the next meeting. But we're meeting again this afternoon, I understand. One thing that I would appreciate from the commission, I've placed 2 requests to each individual city council person to report to the committee their worst scenario, their worst situation with traffic calming, particularly in residential neighborhoods in their wards, to report those to the committee so that we could look at them and try to place different devices or things in there and study them and see what kind of impact. One ward has reacted to that request. So you folks as traffic commissioners, if you could perhaps give your council person a call and see if we can speed up, and get a little bit more information, it would really help this committee a lot. Other than that, things are moving forward.
Thank you very much. Next, Commissioner Schuline.
Nothing to report. Thank you.
Commissioner Jenkins. Commissioner George.
Nothing really to report, but just I've noticed I'm kind of making a new track my daily routine, and I've noticed that it seems like there's a lot of intersections, excuse me, that the timed lights work really, really well, and where you'll come up and there's nobody coming the other way, the light will turn green for you pretty quickly, and vice versa the other way. But then there's other lights that seem like they're broken, now that in Independence and 63rd, for instance, if you're coming up 63rd, if you're coming up Independence to 63rd, there are times when I'll be sitting there for several minutes, and then that's kind of a funny intersection where it has a left, like lets everybody go west, and it stops people going west, like that intersection widened, I think. But anyway, it backs up people coming from the west or all the way to the highway sometimes, and there won't be anybody coming from the east, and so there's something amiss with that. I don't know if somebody can check it out, or I assume it's not just timer related. I think there must be something around that's not working.
We can have it checked, but Northwest 63rd Street, the east-west faces never run at the same time.
Right.
And that's so that, left turns can be accommodated.
Right. No, I understand that, but what I'm getting at is that when the people going from east to west, if there's nobody there, and there may not be anybody there for 2 minutes, it's still holding everybody from going west to east, and they'll be sitting there, and that traffic will get backed up all the way to the highway. It'll get 25 cars deep before the light turns green, even with nobody coming the other direction. So there's just something going wrong.
That the sensor might not be.
Right.
Okay.
That's the one I'm thinking about right now. There's others. That's the biggie.
Right, we can have that looked at. And just for your own information, improvements at that intersection were included in the 2007 general obligation bond. So at some point in time, that intersection will be widened with dedicated left turn lanes, so it doesn't have, the signal operation can be changed later.
Okay. Do you have anything, sir? No. Okay, counsel? Okay, the only, I got 2 points. One thing is, it appears that we have a Ward 3 person going to City Council at their meeting Tuesday. So hopefully we'll have a Ward 3 person for the next meeting. And the other thing is, the bike routes and the bike operations that we've been working on for 4 or 5 years. The last update we had was now we're just waiting for some money through a grant or something to do public education. And it appears that most of the signage is out there now. It appears most of the lanes are being built and all that. It may be appropriate here, March, April, to get education out to the drivers, newspapers, TV commercials, all the stuff that they talked about. Stuart, could you check with the person in charge of that and see if that's something like that's going to be happening this spring?
Okay, I'll see if I can get a report on that for you for the next meeting.
Yeah, basically what we're wondering, we understand all the work's been done, 600 signs gone up, et cetera. We're just wondering if that education, and if there's no money to do a formal education, at least a press release or something that the press could maybe pick up on and do it as a good public service thing, maybe.
All right.
Okay. Do you have anything else? Any other
The only thing
report?
I've got is the last page of your agenda where we report on those things that were installed administratively, and the only thing that we've gotten for this report is the installation of a westbound yield sign over at Lee and Northwest 29th Street in the Paseo area.
Okay, thank you very much. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
I think we might have missed item 3 on the agenda today. I think we have,
It's presented in April.
oh, April. Okay,
Yeah, if you remember, that's done quarterly now. Unless you'd like to say something, Sergeant. No. Okay, so,
I move adjournment.
a motion to adjourn from Commissioner Witcher, second. From Commissioner Jenkins, let's have a vote real quick.